we're on the cusp of maybe adding 50% to our number of affordable housing units, maybe even more. When you're in a shelter of any sort, there are three objectives. One is to connect the person to a source of income, because almost anybody who is on the streets can be connected to some source of income. They either qualify for Social Security disability, or they qualify for Social Security retirement income. They can hold a job, but have not been able to because they're homeless, or because they have some kind of mental health or substance abuse problem which can be treated. So you address those things that are making the people unhomeable, and then you get them into either transitional or permanent housing, depending on the circumstances of the individual. And finally, you bring all those circumstances together and move them into the conventional community where they have a house, have a room or an apartment. They are paying their own rent and they're getting to a job. So those are the steps, regardless of the program that you're in. Some of those steps are pretty tall. In Longmont's case, the first step is pretty tall. It needs to be easier. It needs to be easier to get into a shelter. It needs to be easier and less time consuming to comply with coordinated entry. So that's one. And two, three is we have a huge shortage of transitional housing. So suppose you are a woman who, with a minor child, let's say a middle school or lower child that still needs considerable supervision, you can't get into transitional housing because there is a waiting list that is weeks or months long. And sometimes the people that get into transitional housing are unable to exit without becoming homeless again because there's no permanent housing that they can afford available. So there are shortages of service at every step of the way. And those are all things we have an opportunity to fix.